This is my 1997 Dodge Ram 2500. It has the 12-valve Cummins engine, the 47RE transmission that's known for problems, as well as the Dodge steering, which is also known for problems. Now, I've owned this car? I've owned this truck for almost 10 years, and I've dealt with a lot of the issues that are common to second-gen Dodges. I've rebuilt the transmission, put upgraded clutches, a triple disc torque converter, all the upgrades and stuff that you need in there to make the transmission last for the work that I do with the truck. I've also done a bunch of stuff to the front end to remedy the wander and death wobble and all the typical Dodge steering woes. However, recently I have had a new Dodge steering woe develop. Let me show you what we're going to do to fix this. My issue is sector shaft on my stock steering gear is leaking and it's developing an excessive amount of play. So let's get this thing bolted in and see if this upgrade is worth it. Down in here is our steering shaft. So I'm going to disconnect that up here so that I can just pull the whole shaft out, because down in there, underneath all of the intercooler piping and hoses and all that other mess is our steering gear. So that's going to come out through the bottom. So I'm going to disconnect our steering shaft right up here so that I don't have to mess with disconnecting that down underneath. I can just pull the hoses off and pull the whole steering gear out in one fell swoop. Let's get the lines off. I've got this power torque wrench. It's got power and torque. You're not ready for this wrench. A 16 and an 18, and I should be able to get rolled around here. Everybody always said, can't be laying down on the job. Well, look at me now. Maybe this isn't what they were talking about. Let's see, one of these is the pressure. I think the 18 millimeter is the pressure feed and the 16 is the return feed. Ow. Let's get our 16 millimeter return line. I'm just going to block the camera with my head. Is that an 18 too? All right, hold on now, hear you. Is it bigger? Must be bigger. Wow. All right, hold on. We'll come back with a different wrench, I guess, and get the return line off. That was a 19 or a 3/4 in freedom units. Now I got to get this guy off, which I'm imagining is probably going to take an impact and some severe brute force. But let's grab big sockets. 20, that's way bigger than 27. 32 maybe? This is as big as this set goes. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. Okay, we're going to have to go to the 3/4 inch sockets. Let's let that drain for a minute while I get the bigger sockets. Turns out it's a 33, so I just need to... I guess you need an adapter to connect this to the air hose, so I've got this adapter here. It's an air hose to 1/2 inch drive adapter. There we go. Fun. All right, let's see if this thing will spin off of here. Yep. Slinging power steering fluid everywhere. Spun right off. Now, with that off, what's the chances that that is just going to pop right off of there? Probably none. I don't think I got a pickle fork here, but I don't have any pickles to go with it. And that's not big enough anyways. Just see about... That's not really working. Huh. Alright, well, I'm gonna think on this for a minute and probably hit it more with a hammer. Yeah, so we'll be back in a minute after I've devised a very intelligent means of getting this off and not just wailing on it with a larger hammer. Yeah. Now let's get this thing, and this just like hooks over this somehow. It's like that, and then still dripping. Okay. Grab our thing here. We want on. Putting a lot of pressure on it. Should I use an impact on that? I'm betting the box says not to. Okay, it does not say. Oh, you're supposed to use a hammer. Put a hard preload and then hit it with a hammer. Okay. Let's hit it with a hammer then. Easy. That did not go as... Let's see, did that break the camera? Nope, camera looks okay. Yeah, so that didn't work. So off camera, I used the pickle fork to pull the steering linkage thing, the tie rod and whatever you want to call that, off of the Pitman arm. So I've got a new boot on the way for that, as well as a new nut because I messed up the nut, and then subsequently the boot with the pickle fork. But whatever, now the Pitman arm and stuff should be loose enough. I can pull the 3 bolts off and get the steering gear out of the truck. Inner fender is kind of in the way here. All right. Okay, a few days later, I've got this much heavier duty Pitman arm puller, and I'm going to heat it with a torch. So I've got the whole thing out of the truck, as you saw, which gives me a whole lot more options as far as not setting fire to my truck with a torch. That's about as tight as I can get it by hand. All right, we're putting an impact on it. That's got a lot of pressure on it. I guess I should have ordered a new Pitman arm. Flip it over on its side. Man. Pump is either given or about to break. That might be hot. Yeah, that's very hot. I think we just got it. That thing is way, way too hot to just pick off of there. I'm going to kind of toss that off to the side and there we go. Let's let that cool down for a bit. Oh yeah, there's a seal that was leaking. It's not there anymore, especially now that I've heated it up to nuclear temperatures. It's pretty much we got to pull this steering shaft off now. And then after that cools off, we can reassemble this thing. Ta-da! There we go. So our steering shaft off. Now, one thing that is important to mention, this factory steering shaft is splined all the way around except for right here. It has this flat spot across there. The new steering box does not have that flat spot, so we either have to grind a flat spot onto the steering shaft adapter thing that's on the new steering gearbox, or remove this flat spot. So I've seen arguments either way. I can replace this with a aftermarket one that just has splines all the way around. So my opinion is I'm going to grind this out because that'll work. So yeah, we'll do that. Start assembling. All right. Let's see if that'll fit. I think that'll work good. Oh yeah. It's a nice tight fit. It's not loose, but slides right on and off easy. It'll pinch right down perfect with our bolt. So we're ready to stick this in and get our shaft in a little bit later. All right, let's get a spacer on that. Go over top of the sway bar. Then rotate in right there. And then I think that's started. Okay. See about another one of these. There's no real good way to get video of putting the steering shaft back in, so it's in. Now we can put on our Pitman arm, reconnect our steering linkage, and then get the system bled and see how it works. Sure, there's probably a torque spec for this, but all of it seems like a good idea. It's not something we want to come loose. Alright, we're off the ground there. We need to top up our power steering reservoir, then turn the wheels back and forth with the engine off so that we can get all the fluid circulated through the new power steering gear and then we don't end up cavitating the pump and blowing stuff up. So I'm going to top that up and we'll start spinning these wheels back and forth. Our next step is to start the engine and run the truck with the wheels still off the ground so that power steering pump can flow fluid through the system. So we've got the door to the shop open. Let's fire this thing up. been a few months after we upgraded the steering gear on my second gen Dodge Ram here. And I have to tell you, this is a remarkable improvement in the steering performance. When you're backing up a trailer or something, it's so easy and buttery smooth to turn the steering wheel, even at idle. So it provides a lot more boost than the stock one did. And it could just be that the stock steering gear in mine was kind of getting worn out, but with the factory pump that was still in there, we're getting enough pressure to really make this new upgraded steering gear work beautifully. So I would say this upgrade is absolutely worth it. The only downside is it does reduce the number of turns that the steering takes. So for me personally, that's a downside because it makes the steering input less precise, I guess you could say. You know, less turn of the wheel makes more turn of the tires. So you don't get quite the same feeling driving. But overall, it's a big upgrade and I'm very happy with the results. So this is something that you should try if you've got a second gen Dodge Ram that has kind of hard steering. This is a good upgrade. Go try it for yourselves. Thanks for watching.